So one of the talking points that have come out from the media and the Democrats is apparently there was a 2017 conversation with Trump and some people involved with Russia where he said that he didn't feel the Russian interference into the election was a big deal. And the media and people like Adam Schiff and other Democrats are going nuts over this. So let's read this tweet real quick from Adam Schiff. You can see it says, Trump may not be concerned that Russia interfered in our last election to help his campaign, but patriotic Americans feel otherwise. He may not see any difference between Russia's interference in our election and America's promotion of democracy abroad, but patriots do. And he cites this news report that Trump told Russian officials in 2017 that it wasn't important. My claim in this video is that it is ridiculous, hypocritical, and corrupt for the Democrats and for the media to be playing this up when, again, we don't have any evidence that Trump worked actively with Russians to get this meddling or this interference. He was just saying, I don't think it was a big deal. Conversely, we have absolute proof that the Democrats worked with Ukrainian officials. We have those Ukrainian officials admitting that they meddled in the 2016 election. And yet Adam Schiff is not only ignoring that, he's actively seeking to criminalize and impeach Trump for trying to discuss it. So if the Democrats and the media's claim is anyone who doesn't take foreign election interference seriously is not a patriot, then they are indicting themselves, because this story has been out before the actual election, where we have actual officials in Ukraine admitting to a meddling in the election to help the Democrats. And yet this wasn't covered by the majority of the mainstream media, and the Democrats had no problem with it and are still seeking to criminalize an investigation into it. So let's go to the article. This article is from the Financial Times, and you can see it's written in August 28, 2016, which means it was before the election, which occurred in November of 2016. So let's see what it says. For years, Sergei Leshchenko, a top Ukrainian anti-corruption campaigner, worked to expose kleptocracy, whatever, I'm not pronouncing that well, under former President Yanukovych. Now he's focusing on a new perceived pro-Russian threat to the Ukraine, U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump. The prospect of Mr. Trump, who has praised Ukraine's archenemy Vladimir Putin, becoming the leader of the country's biggest ally, has spurred not just Mr. Leshchenko, but Kiev's wider political leadership to do something they would never have attempted before: intervene, however indirectly, in the U.S. election. Do you see this? This is before the election. And there are reports that Ukraine has officials actively saying, we're intervening in the U.S. election. We're seeking to meddle in it. Let's see exactly how they do so. Mr. Leshchenko and Ukraine's Anti-Corruption Bureau published a secret ledger this month that authorities claim show millions of dollars to off-the-book cash payments to Paul Manafort, Mr. Trump's campaign director, while he was advising Mr. Yanukovych's Regents Party from 2015. Now remember, the original claim for Trump with the Russia investigation was that, remember, they sought to get dirt on Hillary Clinton's team from Russians, and there was going to be this meeting at Trump Tower. And even if we couldn't prove it, the Mueller report showed there was no active conspiring between anyone in Trump's campaign and the Russians or anything like that. Trump's dirty and terrible for accepting and willingly using the dirt that the Russians gave. Here we have an admission from Ukrainian officials. We don't want Trump. We want his opponents to win. We're actively leaking material. We know that material was then leaked to the press. We know that that was then used to smear Donald Trump, particularly about Manafort. We also know there was an investigation by Ukrainian officials into these officials for improperly giving away details of an investigation that had not been closed. And we know that DNC operatives themselves were actively engaged in working together with these officials, such as a woman by the name of Alexandra Chalupa. All of this is public knowledge. Where's the investigation? Where are the screams from the Democrats that say, my goodness, this was election interference, we have to look into it or we're not patriots? Instead, they're saying the opposite. The fact that Trump's working with the Ukraine to investigate this corruption shows he's somehow corrupt. That's how ridiculous this is. More from Leshchenko. A Trump president, this is a quote, a Trump presidency would change the pro-Ukrainian agenda in American foreign policy. Mr. Leshchenko, an investigative journalist turned MP, told the Financial Times, for me, it's important to show not only the corruption aspect, but that he is a pro-Russian candidate who could break the geopolitical balance in the world. Mr. Trump's rise has led to new cleavage in Ukraine's political establishment. Clinton, the Democratic nominee, is backed by the pro-Western government that took power after Yanukovych was ousted by street protests. The Yanukovych camp leaned toward Trump's. If the Republican candidate loses in November, some observers suggest Kiev's action may have played a role. Ukraine's anti-corruption activists have probably saved the Western world, Shekostovitz, a Western-based academic specialized in Russia and Ukraine, tweeted after Manafort resigned. This proves that people are saying, thank you, Ukraine, for meddling in the election. You're hurting Trump's chances. This is admitted. Where are the investigations? The Democrats pretend, again, they're accusing Trump of not being a patriot. They say any patriotic American would worry about any sort of foreign meddling into our elections. Yet they want to go off on these wild witch hunts where we have no proof. Here we have, before the election even, mainstream media sources interviewing Ukrainian officials that are admitting, yes, we're leaking this evidence because we're actively trying to sabotage Trump in the 2016 election. And no one bats an eye. So you could go forward and I'll link the article and you can read the rest of it, but they admit that this influence has, let's see what else it says. It says, Kyiv moved beyond verbal criticism when Ukraine's National Anti-Corruption Bureau and Mr. Lyshenko, who has a reputation for being close to the Bureau, published a ledger showing alleged payments for Manafort. The revelations provoked fury among former Regions Party backers. Asked by telephone about Mr. Manafort's activities in Ukraine, former Yanukovych loyalists, now playing the lead role in the party's successor, called the opposition bloc, let loose a string of expletives. He accused Western media of, quote, working in the interest of Hillary Clinton by trying to bring Trump down. I mean, this is unbelievable. This is an admission that we have foreign meddling from the Ukraine government. So when you hear Adam Schiff and when you hear the Democrats say, oh, Trump said he wasn't concerned about foreign election meddling from Russians, remember, we have no proof that anyone in his party actively sought to work with Russians to get this started. None whatsoever. None. The Mueller report showed that. But we have actual proven public statements from even before the election that the mainstream media is acknowledging. Yes, the Ukrainian officials are publicly speaking up saying they're willfully interfering in the 2016 election to help Hillary. Yes, there are people saying, thank goodness they're doing that. This might be devastating to Trump and bring him down. Yes, we know that DNC officials, one at least by the name of Alexandra Chalupa, directly met with people like Lyshenko to get this black ledger and leak it to the media. So who's the real patriot here? How can people like Schiff say this with a straight face? So, hey, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and BitChute, which I'll put the links below. And please, I really encourage you to share my video with other people. And I'm trying to get this information out there more to show just how corrupt the Democrats and the media are with this. So I'll probably be doing a live stream at 1 p.m. Eastern time today. So tune in for that as well. So thanks, everyone, and have a good one.